I never thought I'd feel this again, not at 55, not after a long, quiet life full of routines and silence. I thought my story was already written. I was wrong. He walked into my world like spring after a long winter. A young man half my age, with eyes that saw straight through every wall I'd built. It started with a smile, then a look, then something I couldn't name, something that made me feel alive again. This isn't just a story about age or longing. It's a story about rediscovery, about finding something in someone that wakes up the deepest part of you. If you've ever felt forgotten or invisible, if you've ever wanted to be truly seen again, stay with me. Like and subscribe for more stories like this, because love has no expiration date, and sometimes it finds you when you stop looking. It started on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays were always my quietest days. The grocery store would be nearly empty, the sidewalks quiet. The only sound was usually the wind brushing past my coat and the soft shuffle of my sensible shoes on the pavement. For years, my life had followed this rhythm. Predictable, peaceful, maybe even empty, though I never let myself admit that until he arrived. I wasn't looking for anything. That morning, I had stood in front of the mirror, applying the same soft lipstick I'd worn for decades. A gentle rose color, modest, the kind of color that says, I still care, but not enough to try too hard. My hair was pulled into a tidy bun. My coat was warm. My heart was quiet. I didn't know I was about to meet someone who would turn everything upside down just by standing there. I saw him near the library. It's the kind of place most people forget exists, tucked between the old bakery and the flower shop that never seems to sell a single flower. I go there often, to be surrounded by stories since my own seemed to have gone quiet. He was standing by the entrance, backpack slung over one shoulder, glancing down at a book he held in one hand. Young, very young and beautiful. I noticed that first. His profile was clean, sharp in a boyish way, with dark curls falling across his forehead and lashes too long to belong to someone so unbothered by them. I might have looked a second too long. He looked up and smiled, not a polite smile, not the kind people give out of courtesy or habit. This was different. It was warm, curious, surprised even, like he saw something in me I didn't know was still there. I nodded back, of course. Just a nod. That's all I let myself give. But something inside me stirred. He held the door for me. I thanked him with the kind of quiet grace I've perfected over years of being invisible. He didn't let me disappear. You come here often, he asked. I blinked, not at the question, but at the fact he'd asked it, at his voice, deep but gentle, sincere. Yes, I said. I love old books. His eyes lit up. Me too. He stepped inside beside me, not ahead of me. He walked with me, not past me. That alone made me feel something I hadn't felt in a very long time. We ended up in the same aisle. Fiction, of course. Always fiction, where the real things happen under made-up names. I reached for a worn copy of Rebecca. His fingers brushed mine. I love that one, he said softly. I smiled. I know it by heart. He looked at me. Really looked, I believe you. We talked for 20 minutes, nothing special. Favorite authors, why the library still matters, why old books smell better than new ones, but there was something electric beneath it. A quiet rhythm, I could feel it. When I left, he walked me to the door. He asked if I'd be around next Tuesday. I told him I would, and I was. The following Tuesday, I wore the same coat, but under it, I chose a different blouse. A pale blue one I hadn't worn in years, tucked away in the back of my closet. It made my skin look warmer, younger. I don't know why I reached for it. Maybe I did. He was there again, same spot, same smile. This time, I smiled back before he did. He noticed, you remembered. He said, stepping toward me. I said I would. He carried a book in his hand, one he'd picked for me, a novel I'd never read, one with underlined sentences and folded corners. His personal, he handed it to me. I thought you might like this. I held it, something about the warmth of it, how it had lived in his hands, how it smelled faintly of cedar and worn paper made my breath catch. Thank you, I said quietly. We walked again, talked, laughed. He told me about his studies, philosophy and film. He said I reminded him of the women in old movies, the kind who say very little but whose eyes say everything. I told him I didn't see myself that way. He tilted his head, watching me. I do. That night, I sat with the book he gave me in my lap, untouched. My eyes stayed on the page, but I didn't read a word. All I could think of was his voice, his gaze, the quiet way he leaned in just slightly when I spoke, like my words mattered. I didn't sleep much. By week 4, it became a ritual. Every Tuesday, the same spot. Same time. He brought coffee now, always black for him, cream for me. He remembered the smallest things, how I preferred cinnamon over sugar, how I hated fluorescent lights, how I loved the smell of rain. We didn't talk about the obvious, not the years between us, not the questions, not the silent rules of how the world should work. Instead, we just existed together, comfortably, curiously. One afternoon, he asked if I wanted to walk. Not far, just a few blocks to where the river curved behind the museum. I said yes. The wind was cold. He offered me his scarf. I laughed. You'll freeze. I'd rather you didn't. I took it. It smelled like him. Clean, warm, young. I didn't want to give it back. We sat on a bench, watching the water move. He asked me what love had felt like when I was young. I told him the truth. It felt loud, rushed, like something I had to prove. And now, I hesitated. Now, it feels like silence I don't want to leave. He looked at me then, and in that silence something passed between us, something real. After that it changed, not suddenly, not loudly, just deeper. He started texting me, small things at first, a poem he found, a song he thought I'd like, a picture of a sunset with a single word, you. I never told him how much it meant, how I would stare at his messages, rereading them slowly, as if each word carried weight. I never told him how my hands trembled the first time he called me beautiful. We never talked about what we were, not friends, not lovers, not yet. We stayed in the in-between, that soft, glowing place where every glance feels electric, and every moment stretches just a little longer than it should. One evening, he asked to walk me home. It was already dark, and I almost said no. But something in me said yes. It was a long walk, quiet. He didn't try to hold my hand. He just walked beside me like it meant something. When we reached my front steps, I turned to him, unsure of what to say. He didn't kiss me. He didn't need to. He looked at me the way only someone who sees your soul does. Can I see you Saturday? He asked. I hesitated. Saturday wasn't Tuesday. Tuesday was safe. Tuesday was our rule. But something in me cracked open. Yes, I whispered. Saturday came. I wore a dress, not fancy, just soft, light, one I used to wear in springtime, back when I was someone else, before the years, before the routine, before silence settled in like dust on a bookshelf. He noticed immediately. You look. He didn't finish. He didn't have to. He took me to a small gallery downtown, one with soft lights and photographs of people caught in candid moments. I loved it. Afterward, he took me to a cafe. We sat near the window. He watched me more than he ate. I asked him why. Because I don't want to forget how you look when you're happy. I felt something break open inside me. A part of me that had been asleep for decades stretched its arms. We walked in the rain afterward. No umbrella, just laughter, just wet hair and soaked shoes, and the kind of joy that belongs to people who forget they're being watched. He kissed me on the corner of my mouth. Gentle, unsure, but hungry with a kind of wonder I didn't expect from someone so young. I kissed him back, and the world disappeared. After that night, nothing was the same, not in a chaotic way, not like a storm. More like the quiet shift of the seasons. One day you wake up and realize the leaves have changed color, and so have you. He began visiting on Thursdays too, and Sundays. He brought pastries, small gifts, a pressed flower between pages, a worn bookmark with words scribbled in the margin. You make time feel soft. I wanted to run, not because I didn't feel it too, but because I did. Because I knew the world wouldn't understand, wouldn't accept, would judge and whisper and say things that would bruise him, maybe even break him. I told him once while sitting on my porch that maybe he deserved someone younger. He looked at me wounded. I don't want someone younger, I want you. I looked down. I don't want to be your mistake. He took my hands. You're the first thing in my life that doesn't feel like one. And I believed him. Because when he touched me, I didn't feel old. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel wrong. I felt wanted, loved, seen, and slowly I let it happen. We fell into each other like pages from two different books, stitched together by longing and silence and the soft brush of skin that speaks when words fail. We never made promises. He didn't ask me to change my life, and I didn't ask him to change his. We just built something small and real in the quiet corners of our days. One morning he woke before me. He traced my cheek with his thumb. You make me believe in quiet miracles. He whispered. I held his hand to my chest. You make me remember who I was before I forgot. Sometimes I still catch my reflection and wonder what he sees in me. But then I remember the way he listens when I read to him, the way he rests his head in my lap like he's home, the way he calls me mine when he thinks I'm asleep, and I stop wondering, because love doesn't follow rules. It doesn't ask for permission. It just arrives softly, boldly, fully, even on a Tuesday. If this story touched something in you, if you believe love has no rules, no age, no timeline, then like, subscribe, and share this with someone who still believes in second chances, because somewhere out there, a quiet miracle is waiting. And maybe it's already found you. Thanks for watching. See you next Tuesday.